point where you were thinking about saying no?
Yes, for sure.
Really?
Literally up until I sat on the couch.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Blair Book. You know what time it is. We're talking about Married at First Sight, talking about Miles and Karen, and giving a whole review of the actual reunion. Guys, if you are new to the channel, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, make sure you like, you share, subscribe, click on the bell button for the notifications. And if you're returning, you got the minerals. Listen, hey, don't forget, grab your merchandise, send them back to the manufacturer, you get me? And the mineral gang, film me. All right then, let's get into the review as well of the reunion with Miles and Karen. Now, many of you, if you watch my channel, probably think to yourself, bro, how are you not ashamed of yourself? You've had your foot on her neck. Now look at it. She's given him, she's consummated the marriage. They've got together now. They're fully a unified unit now. You can get off her neck. Hey, guys, I was only giving an analysis, you understand, of what I was seeing. Do you get it? But yeah, you know what? Watching the reunion, I mean, they do look happier. Listen, well, Miles looks happier. I want to say that. Miles looks happier. Finally, his needs have been met. Okay, so the guy is ecstatic. He's wild. He's joyous. He's elated, and we appreciate that. We got no beef with that. I like that. Continue onward, sir. More love and more power to you. The first question I was kind of asked was,
kept your guard up. Watching this back, do you feel like, wow, I was a little closed off?
I don't. So I am more reserved. At the end of the—
hold on a minute, Karen. So you're telling me you weren't defensive during the course of the show after you even admitted that you were scared of being hurt as to why you couldn't open up with emotional and physical intimacy? And remember, I just did a video some weeks, a few days ago, talking about the fact that Karen's denial. I really do feel that Karen has denies parts of her being. What I mean by that is the darker nature of herself, the things where she doesn't do it quite right. I don't know if there's too much pride in those areas for her to admit her wrongdoings. Because sis, you were closed off. No. Sis, you were closed off. Yeah, you were. You were defensive. That's why Miles had to describe you as someone who's mysterious. That's why when he was asking for words of affirmation and emotional intimacy, you were struggling to do. You were closed off. It's okay. It's not a big deal. It's not even a deal breaker. It's something that a lot of us are. We're a little bit closed off. But the mere fact she couldn't just say, yeah, I was closed off, no, she had to make a whole excuse about it. I was like, Karen, again, just admit that, you know what, my bad, I was closed off, and I was scared, and that's why I couldn't really open up to Miles the way I wanted to. But sis, you're telling us if we didn't see the whole, as if we couldn't see on the screen. It's the same thing with the same thing with the deflection of saying she got bad edits, and so that's why people picture her in a certain way. No, sis, you said things that were inappropriate and didn't need to be said. Okay, you behaved in certain ways that, as your friend Olivia said herself, if you act like an A on screen, you're gonna come out looking like an A on screen. Do you get me? And so the same thing here, Karen. If you act like you're emotionally unavailable, on the screen, it's more than likely because you are emotionally unavailable off screen. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I am more reserved. At the end of the day, I have to be true to myself, and I have to make sure that I'm comfortable first and foremost. So honestly, it's one of those things that you
appreciate that. You do have to be true to yourself. You can't lie and become something else. But the truth of the matter is, I just need you to admit that, listen, take some responsibility for your actions and accountability. Because even like an interview that she did, I think it was some weeks back, it was online, and it's talking about the fact that, I didn't like what Dr. Pepper said, basically, about her saying about it's all about my needs, blah, blah. But Karen, we had only seen you talk about your needs. When he asked for you to fulfill your needs, fulfill his needs, you weren't wanting to do it. You said it's not me, So what did you think? Of course we're gonna see that, and if Dr. Pepper's watching that, she's gonna think that it's all about your needs, because the majority of the country thought it was about your needs. Like, we can't all be wrong, my G. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that you didn't try to find out his needs, etc., etc. We saw that as well, but we are saying that there was an over emphasis about your particular needs. And even, yeah, so I
wasn't used to someone that I was invested in or interested in not feeling me similarly.
Miles has never had a girl deny him.
That's not true. That's not true.
Now, I don't care if you disagree. This is what I see. And when I see it, I say it. You know what I mean? All right, cool. Miles said he isn't used to investing in someone and not having them feel him. Yeah? And then Karen interrupted. Not in a rude way, just interrupted and said,
Never had a girl deny him.
That's not true. That's not true.
That
That's
is
not
what
true.
that was.
That's not true.
and I was like, Karen, what? Miles never had a guy that denied him, and that is what it was. Wait, sis, are you trying to say? Because I've seen the glimpses of this, I've seen glimpses, like for when she stops him from doing, like remember Salt Bay, stop it, all these kind of things. Yeah, I really believe there's a part of her that tries to bring him down a peg. I do believe that a little bit. Part of her, there's a little part of her that wants to bring down a peg, right? Just to calm him down. You know what I mean? Bring you down a level, right? And I said this, and I'm saying this with love. There's narcissistic traits in all of us. Yeah? And one of the narcissistic traits is that people try to bring people down to a level to try to elevate themselves. Now, I'm not trying to say she's a narcissist, because that will just get people a bit funked. But I'm saying there can be some traits, some residue of that. You know what I mean? Because this makes this part, when you listen to it carefully, the fact that Miles has never had a girl deny him, and that is what it was. I was like, huh? And he jokes, he didn't clock it because he's laughing, thinking to himself, no, not that. But I'm like looking at it like, bro. So sis, are you trying to say that you're the one that rejected him? Are you trying to say that, sis, you're the one that was the only one that's never felt him before? That's basically what you're saying is, I'm the only girl that's actually ever said no to him. And you take pride in that? Sis, what's going on? Come on, talk to me, sis. What's that about? What's that about? You see, that's why I say I have concerns. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say I have concerns.
Your husband the day before your wedding. And this is just me quoting you. He's not my type. What was that like, and how close were you to calling things off before
It was interesting because they actually exchanged looks. And it looked like they had prepped this answer before. Similarly enough, like how they spoke about what they were going to do on D-Day, some episodes back as well, in the bedroom. This looked like the same thing. They had looked at each other, exchanged looks. He kind of nodded his head. She kind of nodded her head and said, okay, yep, go for it. They had prepped an answer beforehand. They knew this was probably going to come up and prepped an answer for this.
your husband the day before your wedding? And this
Right? So Karen starts discussing the incident, but she doesn't discuss the not my type thing. She doesn't discuss that. She doesn't also say, actually, do you know what? Maybe I was fearful. But she actually discussed the fact that, okay, yes, I had never experienced someone being an oversharer before, and thus I was scared about making a mistake. But she still doesn't answer the whole, you weren't my type.
for the wedding.
I was freaking out, not only because I figured out who Miles was, but honestly, when I looked at his Instagram,
So I mean, I would have rated her if she came out and said, listen, do you know what? Miles wasn't my usual type. Because people say it all the time. It's nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing. People say that all the time. Oh, you know what? You weren't my usual type, you know, but I just thought I'll give it a chance, and I'm glad I did. That's it. Done deal. Finish. You're coffee. You understand? Yeah, that's it. We're going home. Yeah, that's true. We're going home. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. So that's all that needs to happen. But instead, she gave us a spin of a yarn and talking about how, you know, I was thinking about, again, and it switches back to her. I was answered about, you know, making the biggest mistake, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, sis.
like, oh man, like this guy seems like he's like sharing more than what I'm typically used to. Like, so in my mind, I was like, you know, am I making
Just come on, be truthful. He wasn't your type. He wasn't your usual type. You could have flexed it like that and then be done with it. You know what I mean? And so then Miles come out and says, obviously a little bit later on, that, you know, and even in between that as well, the way that Miles was even like tugging at his collar, rubbing his thigh as she was answering that question, I knew he was uncomfortable. He was uncomfortable because, like I said, like, you will feel uncomfortable because at that point you felt like you weren't desired.
What was that like, and how close were you?
Do you know what I'm saying? You're watching it back and think to yourself, I wasn't desired. And only now it's got sweet, But again, just because someone's giving you sex doesn't mean the relationship's fine now. Listen, how many people have sex and the relationship don't work out? Cause like, I'm not saying they're not going to work out, but I'm saying to you, we can't get excited about the fact they're having sex. And that's it. And now we're going to be like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that they're good now. There is issues they got to work out, my friend. You know what I'm saying? That need that he's talking about is only the end leaves of the actual root problem. The leaves are the thing that are outer, but there are root problem issues they need to deal with. You understand? As Brett said himself, I don't want you just to give it to me because you want to give it to me. I want you to give it to me because you desire to give it to me. I don't want you to just give me, intimacy on that level because you think it's the right thing to do. No, you do it because you actually want to do it. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying anything too tough, man. And so Miles said, obviously, he was thinking about giving up at the D-Day. When he was coming to the D-Day, he thought about giving it up because, there was too many things that were pushing towards a no, but he pushed through and he invested in her and said, listen, I'm going to continue this forward. And because the reason why was because he wasn't sure how invested she was in actual marriage. And so for him, it was a big leap of faith to take to actually decide I'm going to actually continue this marriage onwards. So I appreciate that. It is a big leap of faith, and I think for many of us, I was not for it. If it was my boy, I would have told him, listen, bro, from what I've seen, bro, I would say take it slower, man. Do it, John Legend. You know what I'm saying? Take it slow. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to rush this, bro. But because you're on a show, you have to make a decision. I also understand the pressures of D-Day as well. And so she said, obviously, the moment he started telling her the truth about how he felt, that's when she realized, obviously, she's going to start making an actual effort to go towards the relationship that needs to be happening.
Even though he didn't think that I could handle, like, the truth about how he was really feeling, that's really what I wanted all along. Because, like, seriously. And
what was interesting was Miles' face as she was talking about this. He looked a certain way. That's what I'm gonna say. But she had started a journey now of coming towards Miles once she realized that she realized that she was getting the truth from Miles. So what she felt was a lack of ability to be able to discuss how he truly felt. She wasn't hearing how Miles actually, felt about certain decisions and certain actions that were happening in a relationship. Again, I've addressed this in the video about that Karen finally got put in her place. I feel like she's talking about a part where she finally gets addressed about her behavior. When he finally tells her it is not okay, that's when she felt like, oh, now I've got the real Miles.
Him step up and tell me that it's not okay. That's when I was like, okay, this feels good.
It has to be your moment. It has to be your.
And so Miles always said, obviously, his needs are being met. And then she goes on to say, obviously, even though he didn't think she could handle his emotions, this is what she actually wanted, right? And then she went on to say, I've seen him step up, tell me that it's okay, it's not okay. And that's when she realized it felt good. And I think I've addressed this in another video, so I won't go too deep into this. But it's like, that comment in alone for me just screams out to me, not even, that's to put me in my place. That's the put me in my place talk that she's talking about. That's the stepping up that she wanted. For you to be the man and let her know you're out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? So I've addressed in another video where I spoke about the fact that, that for me was dysfunction, but it is what it is.
She texts him, calls him.
All day, all night.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So now you have the relationship, really. You could kind of move Karen to the side and you have that relationship.
Karen's mom has always had a good relationship with Miles. The very moment that, after where Karen's mom had, was explaining, brought him to dinner and they were talking and Karen's mom gave her a sign of approval, we already knew that was when the mom was sold. Because she questioned him at the wedding, and then after that, when she met him for dinner, she was sold then. She liked him. She was really rooting for him. Of course she would, because when you see a man like Miles, you can tell by the integrity, the heart, the individual nature of the person that it's going to be a good guy. So of course the mum saw it from early that he was a brilliant guy.
DMs.
Yeah, I've had a couple.
You had a couple?
Couple hundred?
Couple.
A couple hundred?
There's some people in there. There's some people in
They've
there.
been slipping and sliding.
So Miles has been talking about how he was getting attention from the ladies, how social media has changed perspective, and you know, we already knew that obviously social media would change certain things about their relationship. I really thought that they were a great couple at points. There are some good points about their relationship. There are some good points. I mean, they had good emotional connection in terms of, good mental connection in terms of discussing things about themselves. They built up the mental intimacy. It wasn't emotional. This is the difference. It was mental. When I want to make this very clear for people. When I get to know you and how you think, that is mental. Your ideas, your thoughts, your attitudes, and your values are the mental thoughts, are the mental intimacies. The emotional intimacies are how you feel. So there was a disconnect on the emotional connection. Reason being is because Karen hadn't been used to someone as a male being so quite open with his feelings, which lets you know that her dad would have never been so quite open. I think now we can really clock it and really let's get some deepness into it. If you make a comment that it throws you off when a guy is so emotional, and you say it's not my type since he's so emotional on his Insta page, and let's connect the dots now, yeah? That I'm going to take it past the boyfriend, take it right to the childhood. Your father wasn't that way. And the reason why I say this is because if he was, you'd have been used to that behavior. It wouldn't throw you off. Because if you had a good connection with your father, a close connection with your father, you would have seen that emotional intelligence and intimacy, and you would have never been thrown off by Miles like Miles. In fact, it would have become an expectancy. But you were thrown off by it because you've not seen that in a male. Which means your dad is probably a very stoic man, and there's no beef to him. This is how he is. Listen, my dad is the exact same way, bro. He's a very stoic man, bro. When it comes to my emotional connection with him on that level, fam, it's a bit more different. You know what I mean? So this lets us know that the idea of her masculinity, I believe, was charged on her dad. What she saw as masculine, what she saw as stepping up, okay, and the putting in her place. I wonder, does her dad put her mum in the place? So I don't know. I mean, I saw that. So again, I want to make this very, very clear. We're not hating on their relationship. I wish them well. We were just analyzing what we saw. You know, I would say as well that I hope they are working out those integral pieces. Sex can only cover up the cracks. Let me be very frank with you. Sex can only cover up the tracks, okay, for a short while before it is exposed again. So you can be intimate on a sexual level and still be missing on the emotional connection as you need it to be, and still miss on the mental connection, still miss on the experiential intimacies, because the sex is talking the loudest. It's confusing you and bamboozling you. For a while it will, but eventually it will wear off. So yeah, guys, I want to leave it there. All right, make sure you like, you share, subscribe, and you click on that bell button for the notification of the uploads. And yeah, we will see you soon. All right, we appreciate you. Stay locked, stay loaded. More love, baby.